Hello and welcome to another episode of the Melanated Hypothesis Podcast Panel Talks. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is Friday, so we have a bunch of perspectives. I'm going to start with Quis. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah. Oh, it is I, Quis Open Doors, aka the BX Vegan. You're better known as the Vintage Vegan. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me, Tori. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm primarily known for my resale game and arbitrage game. I'm the Vintage God Thrift Daddy, as they call me in the streets. I'm also the Vintage Vegan, as you previously heard. I help inspire other people that make excuses to become vegan, and also culminating a community around the melanated and the like-minded vegans of the world. How we doing, guys? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
Good. How are you? Obviously, you're feeling good.
Always. I have no choice. It's a choice. It's always a choice whether or not you're gonna feel good. So I made the choice. I make it daily. I make it in the morning and the nighttime. You got to make that choice to feel good. It's okay to feel whatever else you're gonna feel, but it's a choice to be focused on the feeling that you actually want. Because if the mind is so powerful enough to forget, then we have to be powerful enough to remember. So remember the good times, remember the good feelings, remember the good things. People totally forget their whole lives. So if they're capable of forgetting their whole lives and have amnesia, then you're capable of tapping into your memory of those good times. In my opinion. I don't know how y'all feel about it. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, we're starting off strong.
Ain't no other way to start. Come on now, we jump into it. Yeah. Oh wow, it's crazy. First of all, I was like so grateful to meet everybody at the morning meetup. For those of y'all that are tuning in right now, you should probably tap into the morning meetup. I'm pretty sure once it goes onto her YouTube page, she's gonna put her affiliate link. So y'all need to tap in with Tori. Go ahead and get in the morning meetup. It's one of the best decisions I've made in my life. I'm pretty sure I can speak for others. Saying that it's one of the best decisions that we made in our lives. Being in the community, I really want to let's shout out the big homie David Shands. One time he's not here, but culminating that community, us being of the like-minded, which speaks to what we're here for, the self-worth of an entrepreneur. All right, so let's tap into it. The reason why this community is so important and having a community is so important and built around the like-minded and those that are entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurial mindset doesn't really vibe with a plantation mindset. It's hard. I'm not here into the game of convincing people. I'm not dragging people. I'm not pulling people. But the like-minded are going to head in the same direction I'm headed. Then I'm gonna walk with them, because you're gonna get further together than you would by yourself. You know what I mean? If you want to get there with some certainty, you're gonna get a team. You need a team. Even Jordan had a coach. You know what I mean? And then please don't shy away from criticism. Please don't shy away from criticism. It might be dope, it might be whack, but it's still a work. So as long as you're working towards being progressive and you're working towards your perfection, you may not get there, but you're going to work towards your perfection. That is the journey. Perfection is a journey and not a destination. So Jordan had to get a coach at some point to get his post game. You know what I mean? He didn't need a coach to dunk. Once he got his dunk right, all right, cool. You know what? So you may be great at sales, but over here you might have to get the promo. I see you with the UNC Tar Heels on. I only think I ain't peep it. But yeah, you may be good at sales and not so good at logistics or something of that nature. So you do need coaching, and you do need a who. Oftentimes we get caught up in our egos thinking that we can do it all. I'm even a victim of it as well. Like, I'm a jack of all trades, master of some. So, but being able to do things and, micromanaging is what they call it. That's the word, micromanaging. So I've learned in the recent months that a who is way more important than a how, and having a team and delegating to the team and being unafraid to go through those breakups. I guess I was not a person like in a managerial position. I still had to work on my firing game. And a lot of times we get stuck to people and we get stuck in situations. We even get stuck on the thing that we created, our business. And we think it's our baby. But honestly, the best business people are the ones that can sell a business. So you're not going to be able to sell a business. If you can't sell your baby, then you might not want to sell your business, and you might not want to get your ego out of there, take the personal out of it, because even the business entity concept states to keep all your personal dealings separate away from your business dealings. A CPA will tell you that, a lawyer will tell you that, the judge will tell you.
Wait, hold on, Keith, hold on.
Stop me. That's why I said you want to give me talking point. You see me do this, you know I'm a rant. Other people here,
going 100 miles an hour, okay?
You have a skateboard, don't he?
Okay, hold on. Helene, can you introduce yourself?
I mean, it's going to be tough to introduce myself after Quis, but
yes, you're fine, right?
that's why this conversation is going to be super important and inspiring for myself and anyone listening, right? So my name is Ellen Parker, and I am the CEO and founder of Ellen Parker Consulting. I went into entrepreneurship about 2.5 years ago when I got fired. And then after that, I had told my husband that year that was the last time I would ever work for anybody else. And so I accidentally became a freelancer contractor. And now I manage maybe 10 to 15 people. And then what I do is training and workshops in digital advertising, specifically in programmatic advertising. And so we can talk about it later if you're interested. But my biggest thing about being an entrepreneur is the fact that, and my biggest reason why is the fact that I want freedom for myself, for my great grandchildren's, and my great grandnieces and nephews' children. And so the reason why I stay uncomfortable, and I'm sure we'll get into this conversation with Quis and you, Tori, later, but the reason why most entrepreneurs like to stay uncomfortable is because there's always growth. And we always know that uncomfortable zone takes you to a level that's beyond our own understanding in the moment. But in order for us to get to that moment, we have to have some healing, we have to have some discovery. And I'll end my introduction with this. My biggest discovery in the last year, after joining the morning meetup, after making some investment in discovering myself as an entrepreneur, has been the fact that my high energy and my charisma is my superpower. And I was told for many years that, I got in trouble in school because of my high energy, Quis, you took everything. I was like, oh, wait a minute now. We can't have two high energy people, but we're going to have it today. So that was my biggest thing as an entrepreneur, but also like as a woman, as a wife, a very proud wife, as a mom, as a sister, as a friend. Like I'm doing this for everyone that looks like me, sound like me, second generation immigrant, legal immigrant, and people that have accents and speak another language, but are here to make sure that their family and their following are going to make it. And we will. I'm already like, this is like a nice environment to be in because I know I'm talking to like millionaires, like future millionaires. So it's like almost intimidating, I'm like, oh, what are they going to say? I'm glad this is going to be recorded,
Let's go. I feel that. I love that. Okay, Taynov.
What's good, family? Peace. So it's Taynov, right? So those who know me first came into the space morning meetup by way of first RPX. So let me shout out RPX, him 500, right? So Taynov, also known as Constant Elevation. So when we're talking about the whole journey of entrepreneurship, you're really dealing with a journey of self-discovery, and it's a constant, never-ending, growth and development. We always under construction, and just as soon as we figure we got things figured out, we realize we got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like the journey of it. And so it takes a lot of elements to come together to get this thing right. And we understand that, we like one of our sisters say, you do it ugly. You got to start somewhere. And some of the elements it took for me to get to where I am is realizing that I wanted to be somewhere else. Right. Some of us working those 9 to 5s. We don't want to be on those 9 to 5s. Sometimes those bill collectors, they keep forgetting to put them on pause. They keep sending out them bills, so you got to start doing things differently because sometimes regular don't cut it. So you got to add things to the equation to try to make sure that you can have things smoothed over so you won't be in that rat race, right? So I came into the entrepreneurial space with the credit repair. So I'm the owner of Capital Elevation Solutions. So right now we focus on the home buying community. So I partnered up with a lot of real estate agents. So when people having difficulty making that cut, being able to afford the home because of their credit score, the real estate agents, the folks in that space, they send them to me. I help work with them, and it's great when you care about who you're serving. It's important to care about what you're doing and how people are receiving your services, because at the end of the day, that's a reflection of who you are, and how people feel about you is your brand. So we talking about becoming better entrepreneurs. And so what we do, we find ourselves in a space with other entrepreneurs who striving to grow and develop their business as well. And then what you find is that in those spaces, you might hear someone ask another person a question that you didn't even think about yet. You know, so we actually grow each other. And so when we talk about self-worth and of an entrepreneur, we realize that there's different levels to the self. You have your individual self, but that's kind of like a fragmented way to look at it. You really have ultimately a collective self. And when you understand the collective self, you realize we different pieces of one big puzzle. And then we figuring out how to work together, how to, you know, set up alley-oops for each other, information-wise, resources-wise, so we could see each other continue to make those slam dunks. So, you know, I could go on and on, but I know I'm with other builders, so let's build. Taynov, let's get it.
Let's go. Okay, so you guys both, all of you guys have said self-discovery. So I want to know about your journey to self-discovery, because personally, I didn't become reborn until 2017. Before that, I was a postal worker. Shout out to all my postal workers out there. So when did you start your self-discovery journey?
I can take that. I think self-discovery is ongoing. I don't think it's a destination. So there are moments in my career working for ad agencies where I realized, like, yo, I think I'm bigger than what's happening right now. And so it's almost like God was planting seeds, and he was like, sis, you think you're comfortable and you're supposed to be here, but you're not. And then I think that's why I never was able to hold a job for more than like 2 years, 2 years and a half. Honestly, 3 years was the most, and I've never been able. It's been 1 year and a half to 2 years after that. And so now that I think back, I was already on the journey maybe 5 years ago, but I didn't know how to listen. And so if you don't believe in a higher power or God, I do. But you can tell when something is happening and it don't feel right, like in your spirit, in your soul, it just doesn't feel right. So a year and a half ago, after I had my daughter, well, she's 2 now, almost 2. After I had my daughter, I was telling my husband, like, I don't want to do this hard. Like, I want to do it smart. I don't want to work hard. I want to work really, really smart. And so I was like, I need a business coach. I need an environment, which Quis mentioned how important it is to be in a community of success. And so as I was in that community of success, as I was putting myself in environment and rooms, that's when I realized, like, oh, is this what it feels like? But there's still moments where I'm like, ugh, I feel like there's still something missing. So I think that's why I keep going, right? Like I haven't reached it just yet. But ultimately, I know that it's not a destination. Like you're constantly going to keep growing. Like 10 years from now, all 4 of us are going to have different type of conversation, right? But 6 months from now, we'll have a different conversation than we're having now. And that growth is going to be everything that happened in the 6 months. As long as you have your vision, which I know you do, and you keep going for it, like the growth is going to happen. But you have to listen. You have to like trust yourself and believe that you're in the right place at the right moment for a reason. And so you have to maximize this time. You know, Nehemiah Davis, he always says that he doesn't care who he talks to. Every single conversation he has, he's going to pick one thing and learn from that person. He said, I don't even care who I'm talking to, if it's a 5-year-old, if it's a 3-year-old, or if it's like an 80-year-old man, woman. He said, every single conversation, I make it a purpose to learn something from the person and go with it. So I think it's a journey. I don't think anybody would say, yeah, I made it, you know. And if they do, they'll be, I made it. But I know I'm still on a different level now. I have a different journey to go through.
Please tell me about the start of your journey, of your intentional journey.
It's a good question.
Oh man, my intentional journey came along with a lack of intention, honestly. My whole thing. Y'all haven't seen that brand yet because I'm focusing on the other brands. I'm focused on Quis Open Doors, and yeah. So, but when y'all do see Yish, your inner self happiness, y'all gonna see some things going on with that. But that sparked out of my talents. Placing stake on my talents. Really, I've worked so many different jobs, from lower level to maybe beginner management, and it took a point that I was living in Spokane, Washington, right? I moved out there after a bad breakup. Couldn't be in New York City at all. I was like, oh, nah, this ain't it. I wasn't myself. I wasn't thinking right, eating right, none of that. I was not operating correctly. And that's what, again, so like as I spoke earlier about the business and personal being separate, because regardless of what's going on in your personal life, can't clock out. So I treat the same thing for my business now. If I couldn't clock out as an employee, I can't clock out as the CEO. So business and personal has to be separate and apart. Anyway, moved to Spokane, Washington, got out of my slump and ended up with 3 different jobs. I was working at a concert hall called the Knitting Factory as a VIP security. I started as regular security, went to VIP security. And the reason why I made that advancement was due to me being Quis open doors in every aspect, because I didn't ask for advancement. They just saw people were drawn to me, and I ended up in VIP security, which was a blessing. VIP security, cashier at McDonald's. If you're the cashier at McDonald's, if you've ever had a McDonald's job, you know you're not just a cashier, especially if you're a guy. You are now inventory. You are maintenance. You are closer. You are opener. You are assistant manager. You do every position, which I also appreciate about the McDonald's industry, because they do hire within, but they teach you every aspect of the business before you can go to this business and delegate. It's hard to delegate a position when you're not sure of what that position does. Get into your standard operating procedures. Moving forward from that, I was also working as loss prevention at Ross. Right? This is funny. I never really told the story in its entirety before, right? So I got all 3 of these jobs, which means I have no life, right? Yeah, cool. No life. So people only see me at work. It got to a point, people would pull up to the job, and if they didn't see me, it was a different experience for them. And in that moment, I knew, I'm like, I'm not applying for jobs once I get out of here. This is it for me. I'm not, because if I can do that for anyone else's business, if they can go pull up to McDonald's and they don't hear the ba-dum-bum-bum-bum, oh, bro, do it again at the drive-thru, no, then I can do that for me. Why does they don't need me? They serving billions. I need to serve my billions. So right then and there, I made the conscientious decision that I'm going to do what I want to do. So I broke the rules. I used to hate going to the thrift store with my parents. Oh God, it felt like poverty to me. It was like, mommy, dad, why do I have to wear this? And my parents were a little bit older than the parents back then in the late 80s, even though they were young to me, 28, because I still don't have children yet, but they were 28, 29. So it was like they were older than the other younger parents. Parents were a lot younger in that age, in that time period. And they were both classic, cool, and funky, fresh, and all that. But you gotta realize 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the fashion changed within those 10 years, 8 years, if you really want to, and then it takes those 2 years for people to catch on. So my parents still dress like the 80s, and I'm trying to dress like the 90s as the only child pleading with my parents for baggy jeans. And I'm in the thrift store getting the tight ones. So that right there was the real beginning of my resale game, because the majority of my money, majority of what I do is vintage. It is secondhand. It is thrift. It is seeing the benefits, seeing the gems in the gravel, and that's where I operate at. So it's crazy that it came from a place of where I hated, and then when I came into my own fashion, I started incorporating that, and then people will pay you to do what you do well. Again, people will pay you to do what you do well. I have people that pay me to go shop for them because they don't want to. They're paying for convenience, and the time that it saves me to do it for them that they cannot do, that's where you make your money. Where it takes you 5 minutes to do that hourly thing, daily thing, weekly thing, that's where you're supposed to make your money, and that's where you benefit. I posted up on my IG, Quis Open Doors. Go ahead and follow me. I posted up on my IG the other day. Carlos Miller had a segment in the show, 85 South Show, where he said, I hate when people say they don't got a gift. Whatever you good at, you do that. I don't care. If you're the best dressing person in the world, you're not supposed to be dressing yourself. If you could talk to people in the room and draw a crowd, then that's your gift, and you need to activate it on it. So that's where my journey began. My journey immediately started, strongly started. I'm gonna go strongly. It strongly started right then and there when I made the conscious decision that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth everything that I'm bringing to everyone else's business. So now I do it on a ground level where I could speak to Tay, I could speak to Ellen, I could speak to Tori, I could speak to anybody in the morning meetup, and they see what I bring to the table. Most of the people I met at the morning meetup don't even know what I do, but they respect the energy. They respect my positivity. They respect, like, he's in the room. It's unmistakable that I'm in the room, and I didn't realize that was something that I brought to the table till I just got off a call like an hour before this, and I had like somebody text me, somebody DM me from the MMU, and then somebody give me a phone call like, stop what they're doing, give me a phone call. Like, I just wanted to say, yo, I appreciate you being there. Like, you inspired me to do something. You never know, and on the upper level, they can't. No, you make up your own salary at this level. When you're an entrepreneur, you make up your own salary. It's based off you. I like to be responsible for me. So that's where the micromanaging comes in. And then the macro managing comes in when I'm up here, and then I can help delegate people. Because one of the things I'm good at is helping people make more money. I've made more people that make more money than me more money. And it's not a hater thing. It's a love thing. You do not dim another person's light by igniting your own. And that's what I got to say about that. Peace, y'all.
I love it. Oh man, you dropped so many gems. Okay, hold up. Okay, Tay, can you tell us, when did your intentional journey start?
Now we talking about which journey now? It's a lot of journeys.
Now, self-discovery, your intentional self-discovery journey into.
All right, that I got you. So for me, that was high school, right? So you get to a point where you actually gotta learn how to wear a mirror, right? This journey is about knowing where you are in space and time, right? And so I got to the point in high school and I realized I actually hated myself. So then I was like, is there evidence that I hate myself? The answer was yes. But guess what I discovered? I saw that everybody else around me also hated themselves, but they didn't know it yet. And so what was the evidence? We took part in self-destructive activities. You know what I'm saying? We didn't put any energy towards building our life, building a better life for ourselves, right? We was just keep doing the same redundant thing that didn't bring any fruitful results, right? So I'm like, well, where does that come from? So I'm gonna keep it a band. What, we still in February, right? So when you telling me that my history started from a place of being chattel, enslaved person, and there's nothing about me more important than that before I got here, I'm gonna start questioning everything. Because now when you're telling me everything worth value doesn't look like me, then I'm hold this other entity at a higher esteem. I'm gonna have more respect for that self than my own self. You know, so at the opposite end of white supremacy is what's that? Self-hatred, really, when it boils down to it, because I don't look like that self, right? When that's getting all the praise. Even the person I was taught was the most influential in the religion space, Jesus the Christ. You feel me? I grew up in that church, and then I remember seeing that they had this Caucasian dude, you know, not to mention that it was described differently in the book of Revelation, skin like burnt brass, hair of wool, countenance of fire, way different than this image they showing me. So you have to start questioning what's being told to you, right? And start seeing how you fit into that narrative. And so I began to look at other narratives, right? Things I wasn't taught in school. And then I read books like They Came Before Columbus, The Destruction of Black Civilization. Then you might learn about Willie Lynch, Making of a Slave. Why do we have these self-destructive patterns? Why do we try to get each other? This crab in the barrels approach to how we deal with one another. And so, you know, high school, that's when I started reading, you know, and I discovered that the contributions of Black and brown people are unequal. You know what I'm saying? And then we on melanated opinion, then you get into the science of melanin. What is melanin? It's understood as the highest concentration of energy, right? So that's why, you know, whether it be good or bad, we're gonna be the most energized version of it when we walk into a space. And energy don't lie. I can sit quiet and you can know I'm there. Sometimes I'll be the biggest person in the room, but physically might be the smallest, right? Because then we begin to value other things. And so when we realize that information can change your outlook, you begin to look at yourself different. And it's levels to discovery, right? When you discover that you're in a space, then you start to ask questions about this space. But it comes a point where you gotta start asking questions about how you relate to the space, right? So some people are in the space reactionary. They just physically there. They actually believe that they are what they're not. So they're in a place where things can be what they appear to be, but not how they actually are. But then above that, which is where a lot of us are in the entrepreneurial space, we begin to ask, what if there's more to us than just physically being here? And then you start pondering possibilities and seeing what effect you have on person, place, and thing. And that's your power. So, like, you're dealing with force then. Like, you have forces around us, unseen and unseen. So, like, we have the force of gravity, you have the force of electromagnetism. So, when you start to figure out force, you realize, guess what? Thought is also a force. So you can use thought on things and change the nature of things. And that's what we're doing in our business. We're putting our thoughts through our willpower on things and seeing the effect that we have, and we tweak as we go. That's why it's good to have a business coach or a Jegna. I don't use the word mentor, but it would be equivalent to a mentor. But if you look at the origins of mentor, you realize it has some very negative connotation to it. It comes from Greek mythology. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Do the knowledge to Jegna and Jegni versus mentor, and you realize you never want to be a mentor or a mentee. It has some sexual connotations that are very deviant to it. So with that being said, you find someone who is looking.
Look it up right
Yeah,
Please
I'm
do.
trying to look it up too.
Yeah. So you got Menelec, mentor, relationship, literally inject your manhood into the little kid. Yeah, none of that. So we don't
Oh,
want that.
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that. So we got to know. We have to know the origins of things, and then we start to leave them alone, and we start to be aligned with things that fit where we're striving to go. You know what I'm saying? So,
But let me ask you something. How did you start on a path of going? Because we come from a conditioned world. So how did you start on the path of even saying why?
I was a victim. Yo, even my conditioning was conditioned. You know what I'm saying? And that shout out to Talib Kweli and Mos Def. That come from a hip hop skit on his album. But you have to ask the question of why. You know, when you come into wanting to figure things out, those are one of the questions you have to ask: who, what, how, when, and why. Right? Otherwise, you remain reactionary, and you will be the tool of somebody else. So when you don't want to be the tool, you have to start really asking those questions to discover where you are in time, so you can become a master of time. And when I say the master of time, you realize that time is an illusion, right? Because we all are given a start and a date, you know, from your birth to the other time, but also in a day, 24 hours, right? And so you find that the one who's the most effective is the one who utilize that space better. And so we began to strategize and put tasks throughout the day that we want to accomplish and check them joints off. That's the person who gets things done, you know, but you have to ask why. And so right now, when you're talking about why, you're talking about cause and effect. So again, it's levels to this discovery thing. Again, if you just here as it's just a physical body, somebody's going to use your energy, whether you want them to or not. But when you want to really affect place and thing, you have to start asking why and how, you know, to understand how things come to be. And then that's how I remember I was talking about that mirror that you wear. You're looking at how you're affecting person, place, and thing, you know, because you're gonna see the fruits of your labor, whether they be good or bad. And so you got to be able to like really judge wisely and see where you are in that dynamic. But asking why reveals a lot of answers, you know. And oftentimes you realize that the moment you change, things around you change. Right?
That's community. I actually recorded a podcast on this because community is so important. That's why I love the morning meetup. This is healthy community, right? But also, if I go and hang with my homies on the block, that's community too. But that's a different kind of community, right? So, have you all ever been or had I guess, a moment where you had to change communities intentionally? And what was that like?
Facts. That's a big fact.
Yo, you know, they say, yo, Quis, you ever heard the saying like when your process of like building something, prepare for that first lonely start. Like sometimes you gotta break away. You gotta break away, right?
Oh yeah, it's not even a sometimes thing. You got to break away because 9 times out of 10 we weren't born into that space that we're in now. Because again, like we all echoed, it's a journey. But you really got being too smart for your own good can also get in your ways. Because like I still had tips and like a little bit like on the end of this knowledge and of this mindset and of this like this actionary phase that I'm in and taking like being accountable and being actionable. Cause like how many times can we get together and smoke on the block, bro? How many times can we go to a party, bro? You're really willing to spend, what is it, like 300%? No, that would be like 500% more than the cost of a bottle of alcohol just to be seen by other people that don't matter, nor do they put more money in your pocket, and you're still going home at night and made no sales at this event. I cannot do it. I can't do it. Can't do it a day longer. So when people tell me that they don't have it, they can't, I'm like, I don't even argue. You're absolutely right. And the day that you choose that you can and you will, and that you won't participate in the bum ass activities, excuse my language, then you will. But it's all with the choice, because you can't tell me that you ain't got no time for something if you're wasting any of it. You can't be wasting any of it. Do not tell. You have to treat it like it's life or death. You really got to treat it like it's life or death. If you're making excuses, there's somebody out there with 1,000 solutions. I don't know if y'all ever heard me do the analogy in the morning meetup before, but I treat it every day like I have a clone. You know what I mean? I have a clone with the same goals, same dreams, same aspirations that I have. But that clone is not going to slip when I'm slipping. That clone is going to show me out every time. So I'm busting my ass to beat my clone. Because then when I'm like, all right, where should I be using my time? Is it time to bullshit? So while I'm bullshitting, my clone is stepping it up. Nah, I'm going to beat my clone every single time. Because like you were saying, you can have a community of bullshit. You can have a community doing nothing. You can meet up weekly, monthly, yearly. I've done it myself, where you're not getting anything really accomplished, and you're slowing the needle because you're participating in MWAs, as we know it, minimum wage activities. You can't complain about your money, your situation, your time, or tell me your dreams, because then I'm going to do my assessment. I'm going to look, okay, so let's dissect what you do during the day. What time are you getting up? What time are you going to bed? What are you doing between those hours? What does your schedule look like? If I'm asking you what your schedule, you should know it off the bat, because those habits create routine. Routine creates success. So if you're not having those habits, you're not stacking those habits within habits that are going to get you to your goal, where you're going to beat your clone, then I don't want to hear it. So we can. How much money have I spent on alcohol? Lord knows. How much money have I spent on weed? Let's go. Like, so I had to make it and pivot into a situation where now, if this is going to be a community, yeah, there might be some weed and alcohol, but we're going to talk about some business. If you're sitting here just blowing blunts, you blowing blunts and bullshitting? Nah, we're blowing blunts. We hitting bottles, but we talking about blunts, bottles, and business.
Blunts and business plans.
Chill. Don't say it again. Hold on. I might write that down. That's our patent pending. Licensing is pending. Chill out. I don't know. I might have came up with something just there. But yeah, I can. It is so easy to get people to meet together to bullshit. So I'm just using my tools to meet. Since you know me from the bullshit, especially people that are still in that realm that I know and I still associate with, it's like, if y'all still there, then y'all can see me do it, then you can do it. Because I know plenty of people that's still on the block that's making a little bit more money than me, but in the end result, I'm gonna be richer than them because they're bullshitting their time now. This wealth is a long game. It's not a short game. Wealth is not a get-rich scheme. It's a progress. It's a journey, and the destination will never be reached, because that means that you're dead. If you reach the destination of perfection, of success already, then you're dead, because that means that you have no other aspirations, no goals, and anything that's, what does it say? Idle mind is death, or something like that. Yeah, it's death. It's nothing. It's stagnant. It's idle. It's whack. It's
Oh my gosh. Did you name your clone? Quis? No? Okay,
nah,
you should name it.
Good
It might be
idea.
an avatar. You should name your clone. You should name your clone and then make it an avatar. You never know. You might have something there. That's what I did. That's why when Jaleesa came, she's your YouTube expert coach. And she was like, your perfect avatar, your ideal client is you a couple steps ago. And then instantly it gave me everything. Now I know exactly who I want to reach with my course, who I want to train, who I want to work with, everything. And I named her Mary. And she's me back in 2014 before I started, but in this, of course, in this world. But I want to applaud you because you're able to see that even though your environment is part of you, it will not determine where you'll end in life. And I think that's really, really important. And I think that's part of discovery journey. And community is really, and to answer your question, Tori, like community is so important. It's like almost underrated. I feel like community is one of those things that people hear like, oh, all right, cool. But like, once you understand the power that comes with being in a community and being active in a community, it's almost like that's it. That's like success right there. If you understand the community that you're in, it's success. And if you're too comfortable in this community, again, then you need to move yourself. But I attended, and that's in response to what you said, but I attended a conference like maybe 2-3 years ago before COVID. And it was a women conference, and this author named Carol Sankar, she came and she was like, you're going to get to a point in your life where you're going to reach loneliness because you've mentally grown, and then your activities are growing. And so the people that usually brought you love brings you nothing, literally. And so she said she can't have a conversation with her mom about entrepreneurship because her mama is like from the old school. I mean, not the old school. I don't know if that's polite to say, but she's in the school of you go to work, for how many years, you collect that cash, you cash in on that check, and that's it. So, and Carol was like, oh no, now she's in a real estate investor and multi-million-dollar investor. So she cannot have those conversations with her mom. So she said, when you get to a certain level, you'll have to bucket people. And she explains it this way. My mom is in a bucket. I can lay in front of the TV, binge watch whatever I want, and she still brings the love that I need as a mother. But I cannot have business questions with my mama, and I'm not trying to. And so she said, my mom is in the bucket. My college friends are in the bucket. My high school friends are sometimes in a different bucket, and so forth. And then she has a bucket for her entrepreneurship. She has a bucket for her what do you say? What was it, Tay?
Jegna.
For your jegnas, et cetera, et cetera. So now that's how I see it, because I adore my friends. But there are some times where I'm in that moment with them. I don't feel the same connection I had maybe a couple years ago, just 6 months ago. And I mentioned that to my best friend. I was like, sometimes I'll have conversation with certain people, but I feel like I'm not interested. But then I started saying like, all right, Ellen, what's going on? Like, who are you? You have to stay humble. But ultimately, deep down, it was just me. It was just me. Again, you have to listen to the sign, realizing that, oh, you're growing. And those people are still here to support you, but they cannot understand certain decision. Like I'll say things like that I'll say in the morning meetup, but do not get the same reaction. And then I'll start thinking about it like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? Is this normal or not? So you have to bucket your people. You have to bucket your people, right? Was it Myron Golden that said that you can't tell a high energy goal to a small minded person or something like that, or a small energy person? And he also said that high energy results cannot live on a small, like a low energy host. And that stuck with me because my energy is always on 1,000%. And people used to tell me like, you're such a morning person. I used to be like, what? I woke up at 8. I'm here at 8:35. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't have coffee yet. But whether I have coffee or not, I still have high energy because I have to listen to, all right, this energy, I'm going to be productive. And just like he said, I'm going to put it towards this. And yes, every single day you'll have to make decisions such as doing money activities decision, because you control your income. And that's also almost like a scare. If you're not confident, if you don't know your purpose, or if you don't know who you really are deep down, then that's going to be scary. Like, oh, that means if you don't work today, you're not going to get this money. No, I get some money, because as I'm growing, I'm understanding that I don't want to work this hard. Did I say that? I'm not lazy. I'm just smart. Okay. As I'm growing, I don't want to keep working all these hours, but I have to right now to continue building up. But Quis, you're going to have to hire those people. Like as soon as, like right now, I'm trying to hire even more. And my CFO, who's my husband, he's like, yes, but where is this money? You're not cutting out of this bucket. You're not cutting out of this bucket. You're going to have to go sell some more. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go sell some more so I can hire this person so I can go sell even more. So community is like if you're doing anything right now in your life, you are most likely part of a community, whether it's your family, your church, your hood, your school, you are part of the community. Now you just have to ask this question: if I'm comfortable in this community, and you don't want to let go of it, bucket that community, keep it in that bucket, and you'll know how to treat that bucket. And then go find you other buckets / communities that are going to get you uncomfortable. Somebody said it. Everybody keeps saying it. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, if you know the most in this community, you're in the wrong community or something like that. Keep that in mind. If you're always pouring in and you don't feel like people are pouring into you, then you got to get yourself uncomfortable. That's like the best thing I can say when it comes to community. It's almost like it's a graduation into your entrepreneurship. Like, oh, is this what it is? Got it. Yeah. You can't join all communities now. Don't go joining every single communities, but start with one or two, depending on the need that you have. Like, for instance, I have two communities: the morning meetup for entrepreneurship, and then I have the Schmilly, the Hello 7 Club, for women entrepreneurs that are in 7 figures plus. And in that community, I also have other people I can talk to about digital advertising, so I can bounce ideas. And then within that community, I also have ad agencies, like digital marketing agency owners, that I can talk to and be like, yo, did you do this? Am I crazy? So I can bounce ideas. But I want to join more, but I know I cannot. Like right now, this is so much. I'm eventually going to graduate from one of those two communities, and I'll know when it's going to happen, you know? When did y'all join the morning meetup?
So
and why? How did y'all? Yeah, tell me about it.
I joined August. I think I joined in August. It might have been August. Yep, August or September, or somewhere around that time. And I joined. I was watching Dave for like probably a year and a half. Like, you know, consuming. I was consuming information. Like I'd seen. I saw Myron Golden the first. That's crazy. That's the only person I didn't get to take a picture with this weekend. But I had lunch with him, so it was like I got a free questionnaire type. I snuck on in there, like I was serving his food. So he was like, "Come sit down." I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely, I'll sit down." Yeah, I got the free brain picking real quick. But I joined 6 months ago after watching it, and then my universe is showing me like, "Oh, I was watching that person's video. Now they on the Social Proof podcast. Oh, I was just talking about that. Oh snap, yeah, I'm selling shirts." And it was just like you were saying, like you can't join every community.
Quis, that was God telling you. He was dropping some seeds like, oh, you listened.
Exactly.
It took you a year, but you listened. You just have, sometimes it's so obvious, but you're like, okay, whatever. And then you're like, oh, that's a coincidence. Listen to me. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, there's no coincidence. There's no coincidence. There's no way. Everything has a purpose. Like you cannot tell me that everything that's happened was coincidence. You cannot. I'll be like, oh, word. No, it's my Jesus. The one from the Bible. It's my Jesus. Like he's doing something for me. He's working really hard for me right now. I just need to stay centered and listen. But that's dope. That's a dope story.
So like I was watching it for like 6 months, and then well, I was watching for like a year and a half, and then like I just said the dollar trial came along. It's crazy. I was like, you know what? Let me just try it, and then I haven't even done the year thing or the 6 month thing. I just 79. Go ahead, just keep going. Like, and it's like
Me too.
I forgot somebody that was in the group, and they were talking about the more money you make, the more money you're going to spend, and you should want to spend more money. And it's become an investment that I haven't looked back on. It's like just like people have all these types of subscription-based things. You got Hulu, Netflix, and all this other stuff that just makes you consume, and you're consuming. I mean, unless you're an actor and you're doing studying, and you're like, oh, I want to watch this movie for this monologue, and then even still, I'm going to think that you're bullshitting. So nonetheless, it just became a regular thing. It's just a regular bill that goes along, and I feel like I get more out of that than I do than having that money in my pocket, which is also what I preach. I don't really like having cash on me unless I'm going to negotiate a deal to buy stuff to sell it, because cash is not making any money inside of my pocket, in my shoebox, or anything like that. I need ROI. So I have no problem spending that $79 monthly for the morning meetup. Y'all, the morning meetup, y'all, that's where we all meet over 700 other entrepreneurs of a like-minded mindset. We meet up every day, 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday. We're also in the book club. We're currently reading Profit First. But that's when I joined, and that's why I joined, and I had to. And I want to piggyback off of that, of not being able to have conversations with the people. Like, you cannot have entrepreneurial conversations with plantational mindseted people. My mother is an avid Christian. I was raised in the Christian church. So when I sat her down, I said, I'm not here to talk to you about religion. I'm here to talk to you about what you're putting into your body. I don't care what you've read. Let's talk about the facts. So y'all know I'm the vintage vegan. I tell her right now, like, you're complaining about these headaches. You're complaining about these blood vessels stricken. And you know what we've been eating for years, how it's causing us to be sicker and die automatically. The moment that you bite into a dead body, you are causing your heart to cramp up and your arteries you're clogging. I'm sorry, come back. You're clogging your arteries. So people are like, oh no, I'm baking my chicken. It is still a dead, made up bird. Chicken's not even a real bird, and we're putting that in our body. So my mother says, oh, but the Bible, I'm like, cool, that's what the Bible says. But the fact remains, once you bite into a chicken, you're killing yourself. So is it work? Are you going to sit there and eat poison and still pray to Jesus? Or are you going to not eat the poison and say, thank you, Jesus? So, and then even that, when I'm telling her, like, yo, you've been putting 10%. I know how much money you make, Mom. I know how much money you make. And my mom is a genius. Like, if she opened up a reform agency for women that come from where I come from to be able to have public speaking skills, to be able to stand up in front of a crowd, to be able to do logistics, to actually be able to listen and not talk and not respond and just be able to do things, how to dress, how to present yourself. My mother could have been making billions, but instead she submitted herself to something that's bigger than her, not realizing that she is great as well. So if you're going to tap into God, tap into the God within you as well. Don't think that you're minuscule. You can't think that you're minuscule and serve a God. If you're serving a God, if you're serving a universe, if you're serving a higher power, period, you cannot think that you're lesser than that higher power. You have to believe that you have the same power that you can tap into daily to be powerful. But I also say, don't think of yourself as a slave. If you're submitting to God, submit to the God within yourself too. You have to. If you're going to invest into the church, invest into yourself too. Invest into your business. I think all churches should have a performing arts school. You can't walk into a Black Christian church without seeing a performance arts school. You can't see it. Public speaking. Broadway shows. What's that? Praise dance, interpretive dance. We got what else? We got the choir. We got an orchestra, right? Right? Don't we have?
But listen, you got project managers, you got sales people, you got marketing. Like, don't sleep on them. Like the people hanging out those flyers, printing those flyers.
Come on,
that's a skill set.
And we fail to realize that the Christian church is a business before anything.
Hello.
They collect money. It got to be church of you.
But you got to think about that. Where did that come from? Even the Bible, like even the things that you're saying, like if we think about not eating meat, but in the Bible it says the lamb and all these sacred meats are good. We also know that parts of the Bible, like while the storyline may be true, stuff in that Bible is not. That's people put that in there. So they put that in there. They made the church. They made it so that you got to tithe and give your money. That's part of the bit. That is the structure. But if we had something where we started to, first of all, we have to. It's the mindset is split in the community in general. So some people who want to thrive and excel, and other people who are conditioned so much that they don't know that they are. So they're following just this business of the church, or this business of, don't have no self-respect. You put all your respect in this thing here, right? So if everybody's following that, we're conditioned to follow that path of giving our money up. So I think it's for us as the entrepreneurs, as the ones that are innovative in thinking, to say, okay, we're not doing the church business anymore, but now we have this spiritual place where we now put our money, we tied some of our money into something that puts back in the community. So now this little 16-year-old has a business idea where she can come to the spiritual realm and get her business idea funded. Like, it shouldn't be that the pastor house bigger than the whole block. It should be that the whole block has opportunity
together
now.
for her.
And let's keep it a band now. Listen, just because we in the church space and on the subject matter, we don't stop asking those questions I was talking about earlier. You still have to ask how and why.
How and why.
A lot of times, you feel me? Sometimes I've noticed growing up that when you begin to ask questions in those spaces, those who aren't qualified to answer will tell you you're not supposed to question God. No, sir, I'm questioning you. And then if I read back, my favorite book in the Bible was Proverbs, because it talked about the value of knowledge and wisdom. I know that knowledge is the accumulation of facts. Wisdom is to put that in motion, and understanding is to have a clear mental picture. So if we talking about putting value on these things right here, then I have to ask how and why. So let's stop playing with me. So remember, we don't do things just to be doing them. If it don't make sense, it must be questioned.
Fact. That's a fact. Oftentimes we get,
and it's about exactly. It's not about how you. It's how you
if God
say
made
it.
you in His image, then there's no particular. Like, we get lost. We lose sight of that right there. That's why I like that Myron Golden talks about the Old Testament so much, because we lose sight of the fact that if you believe in that, right? If you believe in the Bible that you were made in God's image, right? So why would you ever see yourself as, you submitting to everything that pastor says? It says, no, submit to God, not pastor. Like you were saying, you know what I'm saying? I'm questioning man. I'm not questioning God, because God says to question me. Do not take this at face value.
That's where you get understanding.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is preached through Old Testament and New Testament in the Bible. But oftentimes we get to the knowledge place. Like I was saying, I was watching David Shands for a year and a half. I could have been in the group a year and a half ago. But I was busy consuming instead of being acting on that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is enough information. A lot of times, how many people do you know that know the Bible front and back and still sin? Yeah, and then once you call them out on it, like I'm questioning me, we like to use it as a scapegoat.
Okay.
The whole point of a community is so people can hold you accountable. You said you were going to have it done by this day. God, you said I'm supposed to have it. I want it. A lot of times, because like he was mentioning Willie Lynch, between Christianity and the Willie Lynch, and they just combined that together. Then the pastor became Willie Lynch and said, I'm going to keep everybody else in the church subservient and below me so that I can feel better. Because even in the Bible, it says, because if you acknowledge the fact that we're made in God's image, then you acknowledge that God is within you. So a lot of times we're speaking to ourselves, because when you go pray, whose voice do you hear? Your own. So it says that you're supposed to tap into your own higher power. And we got to tap into that. And that's exactly what we're doing by tapping into our power. I recognize this man as a God. I recognize her as God. I recognize her as God, because we're reflections of each other. Somebody said earlier, we got to wear a mirror. We're reflections of each other. We forget that. Like from the earth, from the dirt we came, from the dirt we'll return. We take that as face value because we're not realizing that, again, I'm tapping back into veganism. Everything that comes out of this earth is good for us. Because the reason, and a big part of the reason nobody wants to hear it, like I stepped away from religion, because I don't believe in senseless murder. Why would I murder an animal that didn't do nothing to me? Has a mom, has a sister, has a father, has a whole family. And then in America, especially Black people should resonate with it, because we went through 400 years of slavery, and now we treat animals just like they treated niggers. The same way, from the sexual assault to making sure that the animal stays pregnant, to taking their babies away from them, to keeping them on the land that they don't want to be on, encapsulated inside of these walls. So when people I don't ever, like, you don't see me jump out the gate like, hey, go vegan. But when we get into the conversation, it has to be, I don't tell you're never gonna hear me. So you're never gonna hear me. You go through all my stuff. I've never said, yo, go vegan. But if you want to have a conversation, we're gonna talk. And you're like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get back with you on that.
But think about,
I bought some fruit today. What's up, mama? Talk to me.
Yeah.
We do that to our children too, though.
Domestication, we learned it.
Yes, like I would
like,
stand the fact that I wasn't going to church no more. I'm like, Mom, God never left me. This is just a difference in understanding. Even in Boys in the Hood, when what's the name Pop said, if Allah could make my son a better man than Jesus can. A lot of times we don't have our own discipline. A lot of people need church for a discipline.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to even believe it, but you need a discipline. A lot of men would be like, you see people go into jail and then they get a discipline from elsewhere. So you got to reach to the point where you're telling yourself what to do. Hold yourself to a schedule. We even lose sight of the simple things. When I went to public school, they gave us a blue card with a schedule from 8 o'clock to 3 something. And it was 45-minute classes with 15-minute intervals. If you fill that up with your own day, because then you got 8 classes during the day, you tackled all those subjects, and you had homework on each of those subjects, and at the end of it, you take an assessment to see how much you learned. I was a straight A student. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm a straight A student for somebody else's knowledge, and 85% of it is bullshit and stuff that I won't ever apply, because I learned way more after high school and college than I did in those schools. I learned more in job corps than I did in those places. I became a certified bookkeeper, certified tax prep. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have wood shop. But if you keep people ignorant, like Willie Lynch says, keep the slave physically strong but psychologically weak. So when they teaching us to be strong, so that what is the biggest program that is always have the biggest down of investment in schools? The athletic department. Because if you keep the slave physically strong and psychologically weak, then you can have control over them, which is also why you have people now just starting to fight for the NCAA to get paid. How long has that slavery thing been going on, where you got people risking their lives and their health for the school to make millions of money while you're still in debt? Makes zero sense. So again, this community, us having this mindset, talking to like-minded people. Like I said, I calculated my mother, mommy, look how much money you put into this church for tithes, but you didn't put that same 10% away for yourself. You cannot see everything else bigger than you. Have to be a part of that bigger thing that is taking care of you. I go to the morning meet up, I take care of it. I bring what I bring, it takes care of me. I get what I give. You know what I mean? And it comes back multiplied. Anytime that you got any type of combination of any energy is going to be multiplied, whether it's negative or positive. So like they say, there's power in numbers. I can't wait for this group to reach 10K, because then that's 3,000. That's 300. That's 300. hold on, what he said, 10K? 10K? So that's
Yeah.
9,300 more people that I can reach, that we can help. Like, I don't need to thank you every time. I don't need the interaction every time. Just me speaking on a public platform, which is great that people told me to open up a YouTube, because you never know. I used to be one of those people that would turn the YouTube video of, okay, I asked how to get the needle through the hole. Not knowing, hey, you could get a different needle in a different hole in a different thread if you watch the whole video. So now I watch the whole video. I put all the information out there. I'm unafraid to tell people what I can give them for free, and stop using every chance that you talk to somebody to sell to them. I saw you out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, stop using every chance you start somebody. We network because we was like, yo, I'm dope. Yo, I seen you, see me. You can't go into everything with expectations of receiving. Go with the expectations of giving. Do your best to give. I'm I love y'all.
I think the biggest thing, and I'll be really quick, Ty, because I want to hear what you have to say. But I think if anyone is listening to this conversation, what we are saying is that with growth that comes with entrepreneurship within your journey, you're going to start questioning, and you're even going to start questioning your own self, which is going to bring God into the picture. I don't think we're saying it's bad to go to church. Like, I'm a Roman Catholic. I go to mass every Sunday. But just like Ty says, sometimes I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. So I go ask. And just because just because the priest is telling me what the gospel said that particular Sunday, to me, it's just his interpretation of a man's interpretation of what God did for us. So you have to just keep that in mind and take it as it go. But if your heart is open and your mind is open and you're connected within yourself and you know who you are, like, you will be able to see what that one human being, like they said, the pastor, the priest, or whatever, say and take from it and then grow with it. But it doesn't stop in the church. It doesn't stop. For me, it doesn't stop at mass. Like, I'm reading the Bible again this year. I'm challenging myself because I'm like, yo, I heard Joseph's story so many times, but now that I'm an entrepreneur, I see it so differently. Joseph was a farmer. He farmed. He was not a hunter. Like, most of us, like, oh, you said that earlier. Most of us, like,
he's a farmer, not a hunter.
Money. No, like, and what I mean by that is, like, Jose Bennett, he says, sometimes you got to hunt, you got to bring that money in quickly as an entrepreneur, but you got to build in a way that when you're farming those 6 months, the rest of the year, those other 6 months, you and your family are eating, right? And your community are eating. So, like, Joseph, he went through a lot. I was like, yo, this guy is a farmer. He's just farming. And he's like, you know what? God give me a gift. I may be in jail right now, but, like, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna tell this dude what he needs to know. You know what? I'm gonna give this value for free. And then somebody else remembered, we're talking about networking or affiliate marketing. Somebody else remembered, and then they came back and like, oh, this dude, Joseph, that you put in jail, he'll be able to. And then Pharaoh saw him, and then automatically it was like secondhand leader of whoever. So just think of it. Like, we're not telling you, like, you have to understand your true purpose. And even if you're not unclear, that's cool. Just be aware. Just start being aware of things. Put yourself in communities. And sometimes the communities are not the right one. Sometimes the church is not the right one. You got to go. Okay. But I just wanted to point that out. Like, it's okay. But at the same time, just, you know what's up, just don't sleep on those moments.
Well, me, I before I was entrepreneur, I was always bartending. Hip hop is my passion, so I'm gonna share some with y'all because it's something about when you get a taste of independence. Mine is made up that whatever you start, you finish it. You get your head straightened, cut the dead weight, straight and narrow now. You ain't worried about no Fed case. Your circle grew a little smaller, and you cool with that. Your people see you building, and they got something to do with that. Feels so good. Feels like Top Food is back. No more moving pats, movie soundtracks. You can bounce back from anything. You a survivor. Proper education always causes elevation. Why bother? Try stop us. Must be the sugar honey iced tea, cause they can't knock the fly off us. I'm more conscious around 85ers. If your 9 to 5 is holding a sign that says I'm alive, you can stop it. I got a job offer for you right now. Create your own. Been around the world a few times and always was at home. Peace.
Woo!
That was fire, bro.
Did you just came up with this? Did you
No,
just came up with it? You
it's
wrote
I
it
got
down?
yeah, I got a song. That's one of my songs from
Yeah,
the joint.
you need to send me the song or the whatever. That was I need to put it right here on my board.
Right. Let's make that a platform.
I'll have your name on it and everything, your picture to remember who told me to do this, who told me that I could bounce back no matter what.
Well, when
And
we
you
close
said, I
out,
don't know, what up? I don't think people heard you. You said, I've been around the world so many times, but I'm still
yeah,
here. I don't think
yeah,
people understand what that means.
that's real.
Like, you've been, okay, I'm gonna shut up. Let's go. We're at time. I'm gonna shut up.
Now since we talking about we talked about religion, for those who want to understand what this journey is like, I'm telling you, like those ants, those negative thoughts, and those
Automated negative thoughts. Yep.
yeah, and those things that tell you you can't or have you feeling like you're a victim. I got something for that too. I was like, you always have options. If you ain't in the coffin, the feeling's awesome when you see the devil on the planet and you get him off it. And when I'm talking about the planet, you always have options if you ain't in the coffin. The feeling's awesome when you see the devil on the planet and you get him off it. See, he'll offer you a different option. And it's a problem because they try to convince the world that he's just a sovereign. And that his options ain't self-destruction. It's like we like the devil and it gives us nothing. So why do we like the devil? We really don't. We just scared and don't want to fight the devil. We ain't thinking on the highest level. If it ain't broke, don't break it. If it's broken, fix it. Be realistic. Some flying saucers, broken dishes that got tossed in a fight, not lost in flight. Skin like burnt brass, hair of wool, God ain't white. So how could children who are now in a powerful position be extended any more of a grace period? It's over. Supreme means highest form. Beings when you exist. What does recessive mean? Who's most dominant?
So powerful.
Melanin.
I don't know if I can go. I don't think I can go to sleep after this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have a question. We got a question.
Oh, okay.
So how do you all feel about paying for community?
I think we already got.
I'll pay.
I'm sorry, them bars is
Listen,
fire, bro.
I
You know
know.
how I feel about it. I'm like she's like, yo, don't get
I'll
into too
pay.
many communities. I'm this might I might not need this. This might just be a lifetime membership type deal.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I can't. Like then they didn't mess around and let me go to the conference. I don't know who told them to do that. I lost my mind in that place. You had to keep on stopping me like, yo, breathe. I'm like, I'm breathing. It's just different air. It feel good. You're not breathing the same air I'm breathing. The air, right? Taste it. Taste that air. Like I don't. Oh my goodness. Like,
How do you feel about paying for community?
I love it.
You pay for every community that you in.
I love it. Like you said, you're gonna be. She said you're gonna have that community regardless. It might as well be a community.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna that money's gonna be leaving your pocket anyway. Might as well be going towards something. $80 a month for real. Like I know people that pay $80 for an eighth of weed. That's 3.5 grams of weed. That's about 5 blunts. In this day and age, it's about 3 blunts for these young boys because they blunts be like this big, and I don't know what they're thinking about. But it's like if you can spend that money to get high.
I gotta go to sleep now.
Feel some dopamine drip, a temper, because the high is gonna dissipate. It's gonna go somewhere. That means you just put in permanent loss for temporary gratification that's not gonna benefit you in the long run. So why not put this little money? Go ahead and put your little eighth money here. Go ahead. I say don't smoke because I'm a big advocate of smoking weed. Shout out to the Joint Venture podcast. We'll be on tune next month. Smoke your weed, but do something with that time. I can't stay like there's certain people that I don't advocate to smoke weed because you don't do nothing as it is. If you're doing nothing, you don't have no business smoking nothing, doing nothing recreational, period. You have a purpose and you can tap into your purpose, not into your bullshit. Like your purpose is not just in your pocket, but whatever's in your pocket has to pay for your purpose.
Yo, Quis.
Okay, hold on, because now I got a question because I've been on YouTube and I've been seeing what do they call it? I just want to be normal. It's a word they've been using. And I'm just like, what do you mean? You don't want to strive for nothing? I don't want to work hard.
Mediocre?
You said what?
Mediocre? Who wants to be mediocre?
That's what there's a wave of people that just want to be normal. They don't want to.
Let them have it. And let them have it. And like I said, it's like some people, I don't tell nobody, I don't force nobody. I don't listen. I tell people all the time, listen, You don't have if you want to be a cracker, be a cracker. You don't gotta go vegan. I'm not gonna come and slap the crack pipe out your hand. I'm not gonna slap the plate out your hand. I'm just gonna tell you the truth though. So when I'm advocating for this and I'm telling people, yo, you need to be in the community, you need to be in the room, you need to talk to people of the like mindset. Oh my God, it's a struggle sometimes. And I'm like, I can't drag you. You gotta take that leap. You have to take that leap. So you might be this might be the first year that you could have did this. Like I said, I joined the morning meetup so late, and I wish I did it 2 years ago. And now I don't take that time. You've lost money before. You've wasted money before. You bought sneakers that have crumbled and stuff that you've never worn. People have stolen things. So it's also your relationship with money. When we're talking about paying for things, it's your relationship with money. If you think that money's never coming back, it won't. If you think that money is being a waste, it will. You're going to make sure of it because you already put it into the universe. Whether or not you believe in the Bible or not, the beginning of the Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So if you believe that to be the most powerful statement, then you have to understand what you're telling yourself and what you're telling to the world. What you're telling to the world will reflect back to you. So if you think it's a waste of money, you're only going to be around people that waste money. You're only going to be in situations where the money is wasted. If you're around people that are going to put the money where it's going to be invested and have a return, you're going to be in that room. The fake it till you make it thing is a little bit applicable here because once you're around people that are making more money, you're going to make more money. Once you're around people that are making better decisions than you are, you're going to make better decisions by default because who else you hanging out with? You're not going to have time to go do the BS squad. You're not going to have time to go just hang out and chill. People ask me like, you was in Atlanta, why you ain't pull up? About that. What are we doing when I pull up? Because I paid money for that ticket here. I paid money for this conference. I paid money for my community. I put money into this. So what is going to be the return on investment? You don't bring them to the table. But I still love you. Like you said, put them in the bucket. You're in the bucket.
Stop yelling at them. They're not gonna go. They're not gonna become entrepreneurs. They're not ready for this.
Come hang out at the morning meeting. I'm there every day, 8 o'clock a.m. Come hang out. Because I'm not about to sit here and just chill. I've done enough chilling. I got my chill bank.
Is right.
I've chilled.
No, you're right.
Long enough. I'm good. At some point, it's just like, you cannot fix problems for people that don't want to fix them for themselves. You cannot help people that get in the way of their own help. You cannot fix anything. Excuse me. You cannot change anything, fix anything. So you acknowledge first that there's a problem. Some people don't see a problem with what they're doing. They don't see a problem with chilling every day. They don't see a problem with wasting their time. They don't see a problem with it. They want to say, oh, it's this, it's that, and every reason. I'm a solution finder, not a problem finder.
But you know why that is?
Why?
That's because people don't know their self-worth.
Yep. I was going to say, you don't understand who you are.
That's what I was talking about.
When I said that line, when I said the devil gives you, it's like we like the devil, he gives us nothing. When I look at certain behavior, you have to qualify the behavior that you're looking at. You got to define the thing. You don't just let it fly by you, otherwise you're not asking how and why. Wow. So when I'm seeing that behavior or a brother or sister talking about they want to be normal, you have to then define that thing. And what that translates to me is I want to be unconscious. I want to be the walking dead. So physically I'm here, mentally I'm not. That's what you're saying to me. That's how it translates to me. And so then I have to ask, okay, it's clear that from that presence, it won't yield much that person will benefit from. So whose menu are they choosing from? And so you'll see that there's two menus. One is of the devil because it yields nothing, although it appears to be something. It's like pyrite. Pyrite is fool's gold. It's shiny. It looks like gold, but it holds no value. So you have to understand the difference between pyrite and actual gold. Is it something that I actually benefit from participating in? Or is it just going to have me where I am? And so we have to define things from a place of knowing who we are. So we won't, because nothing's ambiguous. It's something or something. It ain't nothing, So once you figure out what it is, you know what to do with it. So when I see that, I realize that's a person who needs guidance. They don't know who they are because they don't understand their relationship to the universe. You got to understand your relationship to the universe. You're not just here taking up space, yo.
Yeah, it makes me sad. Like there's a lot of us. Yeah, there's a lot of us that don't know who we are because of everything, like in our environment, like how we were domesticated, where we're from, and that's okay. Like it's okay. But if you know that something is missing, then it becomes not okay when you don't do nothing about it. So you might not see where you're going right now, but you know where you're coming from, and you can't stay here. You can't stay here. You can't stay normal. whatever the F that is, right? And so when somebody tells me, is it worth investing in a community? I would say, like, everybody see those real estate investors, it's like, to me, community is like real estate. You might buy your first rental property. You're not going to cash in on this rental property for maybe a little bit, right? If you do it, you might cash in a couple $100 here and there. But your goal as soon as you buy your first real estate property for renting, for passive income purposes, you want to just make sure that it covers the mortgage plus a little bit of some, right? And so you're not gonna cash in that much for maybe 5, 7, 8, 10 years. I don't know. I'm not a realtor, right? But I have rental properties. So when you invest in a community, like, it's the same way. Maybe the first month you're still trying to figure it out. But if you come in with the right, like you said, asking the right question in the right state of mind, even if you're like, I don't really know exactly, but I feel like I should be in there, then that's like, you're already working. You're already on that journey.
Yes.
So when you invest in something, it hurts your pocket when it don't work. Okay? It hurts harder. So to me, everything I invest in, I'm going to make sure I'm going to go 1,075% in it. And I'm not wasting, because it has to work, or it has to work. Money is hard to get through money. A pandemic just went through. People lost their jobs, okay? Like, people lost their lives, okay? So money is just a tool. So if you are already saying, I don't know if it's worth investing in, then you're not in the right state of mind. Just like what everyone on this panel is saying, you got to do some self-work first. Maybe instead of investing in that community, in this point in your life, in this moment, invest in therapy, invest in a counselor, invest in a professional that can help you break down those ants that he was talking about, those automated negative thoughts, and get back to who your self-worth is, so that you can keep growing. But a community is a must. If you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, a community is a must. And sometimes the word community is used interchangeably. That means that a network is a community. That means that sometimes a group can be a community. So don't just think of a community just like what we said, right? A community can mean a lot to you, and your network is your community, and your network will get you those coins back if you are using it correctly. But I want to, license what Quis says. You have to be a giver in order to receive. You have to be a giver. And if you think you're giving too much, then again, there's some like internal thing that you have to address. And I'm not a professional, but I know from my own experience that as soon as I started addressing this, I'll like literally, it's like flowers coming out, like daisies popping up, like, oh, this is happening. So you got to invest in yourself. You got to. You're gonna have to make some type of investment. You got
so earlier, Quis was talking about the indwelling self, and that's the most important. That's the most vital part. When you think you're just a physical body, that says a lot. That you got a long way to go, and it's a beautiful long way to go. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, because I still got a long way to go, but you're more than just your physical self. Like, when you begin to ponder the reality of, or think about what it means of what animates you. You know what I'm saying? Then you start to think about what you might have been told in spirituality groups or religious groups or metaphysical groups, and you have to find your relationship with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what title or word sound you put on that, but you have to your journey is to figure out your relationship to that, because you don't even have to be religious. But let's say journey with me for a minute. Let's say none of us are religious. We don't believe in no religion, but you hear the idea of this thing called higher power. At some point in time, you have to try to figure out how you relate to that, even if it's made up. It can be completely made up. Hell, the Three Little Pigs is made up, but it's a point to it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to start to imagine, what does it mean? What is my relationship to this said power, right? And then the only way you figure it out is if you shut the world up and go to a quiet spot.
Meditate.
Try to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a Roman Catholic. I believe in all of that. I believe in the chakras. I believe in meditating. I believe in higher power.
If you don't do it, I'm telling you, if you don't make that time for yourself, you'll always be lost. You just have to make some time to quiet down the madness around us, because the madness around us is to keep up the madness around us. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to like get to a place. I don't care. That's why I like the miracle morning. Y'all remember that? The morning miracle routine. It's savors. It's silence. So I do this every day. I wake up, and I don't care if you do it for a minute for each one. Savors. S is silence. So I sit in the bed. I'm just silent. I do it for 5 minutes, and I just clear my mind. And then the A is affirmations, right? So I do affirmations.
Okay.
And then V is visualization. So I visualize how I want this day to go and how I want it to relate to how I want this life to go.
I need to
You know what I'm saying? And E is exercise, right? I don't care if you do one push-up. You know, Limitless says start with one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care if you do one push-up. It's a start of a routine. Then R is what? Reading. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's a paragraph. Start with a sentence. I don't care if it's a morning mantra. I don't care. Read. And then S, last but not least, is scribing. You write something down. You know what I'm saying? And that's savers. I start my day like that every single day. And what that does.
I've never heard that acronym.
Yeah, you gotta have to say it again because I didn't write fast enough.
One more time.
So go ahead and write savers, and then I'll go ahead and write savers, and then I'll tell you each word. SAVERS. The first S is silent, right?
RS.
Because you can't because you can't listen when you're talking.
Yep.
So silent. Then A, affirmation. A lot of times in the affirmations you see the I am, which is the divine talk.
The being.
Anytime you attach something to I am, you talking things into existence. That's why we don't want to put nothing negative to it. All right, so that's affirmation. B, visualization. If you can't see it, you can't do it. Right? Exercise. Because we all benefit from it, and we have one physical body, right? R, reading. Because what you put in is what you get out. Garbage in, garbage out. And then S, last but not least, is scribing. That means you're writing something down.
So journaling.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you either journaling or you're assigning tasks, however you do it. But you it's the result. It's the last part of everything you just did, right?
Yo,
That's fire.
I didn't have an acronym for it, but over the past year, it's been a pride. That's what I like. That's what I do every day. And it's crazy because my journey forced me into having to do those things, and it's just like,
me too, Kiss. Yes.
You can want those things. You can be like, you don't know what it is, and then you didn't even know the thing that turned you around. Like, I became the crazy person that I used to make fun of when I was little. I'm burning sage, I got crystals, I'm meditating, I'm playing classical
Talking
music.
to myself.
It's my bullet journal. I don't Where's my book? Where's my book? I even made sure that my brand new phone had an elite note-taking place. Like, so as soon as I take my stylus out, my notepad comes up and I'm here in case my notebook is gone. No, never again. Like you see Ellen's walls and whatnot. I got my dry erase section over here. I refuse because
I have so many.
It's easier to write stuff down and find it that versus you trying to remember it. So that whole acronym is fine. I'm stealing it tomorrow. I'm going live in the morning. I'm stealing that one tomorrow.
That's yours.
That's all about the output and the input.
We don't steal. We license.
We license.
Don't let Bryn hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
No,
but that's
listen.
That is,
you gotta understand.
I love that. And like somebody was saying earlier, you're gonna be in a community whether you decide to or not. So you either intentionally put that money up to join the community, or you sit and settle for the community that you're forcing yourself in, and the money's gonna go out anyway. So you rather intentionally put your money toward that community. And like somebody was saying, we're all mirrors. Like, we've never spoken about those actions, but I'm pretty sure we all take those actions. And again, once you find yourself in the right mindset, I see people on Facebook complaining all day. I'm like, you're on Facebook. How many groups are you in? How many groups are you? You can join free groups there. It's so I don't. I don't want to pay you. All right, cool. Don't pay it. I'm gonna show you.
Hold on. Let's talk about that real quick because my Facebook. Like, I don't have a feed. If I'm sitting by somebody in their feed, they laughing, it's jokes and memes. And while my Facebook has that too, the content is completely different. I joined so many groups that all I see is
inspiration,
or
entrepreneurships.
creating a
That's how
community.
my Instagram is. And y'all,
You're gonna be in a community
morning
regardless.
meetup in my.
You're not on Facebook for the business mindset. You're not on Facebook for self-development. You're on Facebook. You're on Facebook to bullshit. But that's the community that you chose by subsequent you said you just happen to be. I'm gonna be on Facebook regardless. So since you're gonna be there, find the community there. If you're gonna be in the hood, find the community there. There are like-minded people. If you go on YouTube and you search up something, how to tie your shoes, it's gonna be a million videos on how to tie your shoes. They intentionally
for real
video on how to tie your shoes. So we can all have a video on the same thing. My brother Tay put it into an acronym. Ellen already resonated with it. Tori already knows about the game. This is game that we are on a different journey, but the same destination. So again, she's Roman Catholic. I grew up in a Christian church. I'm pretty sure my man is non-denominational over there, or even submitted to that type of religion, because religion it translates into religio, which is the bind of the mind. So that means that we're not even thinking for ourselves. So I wouldn't even say, even if I was Christian, I wouldn't say that I am religious, because that means I'm binding my mind, submit to thoughts that I'm not questioning. And you could never do that, because I remember when I was in the church every day, and they were like, "Oh, the devil knows the Bible better than a lot of Christians." Yeah, he had a head start. He had a head start. So obviously he should, but you should also know yourself, because you're tapping into yourself. What are you intentionally putting in? I don't want to hear you complaining about things that you're not putting into yourself. I was complaining about the weight. I had to lose weight. Now my knee feels a little bit better. Now I want to do more of that. I was complaining about. I never complained about not having money, but I was not having enough money. And you know what I'm saying? What am I not doing? Are you? What works? What works? Are you doing more of what works? Or are you saying, all right, I'm cool? Like I put up a quote on my page the other day. I said, I quit the job, not the work. The job will change, not the work. Now I do way more work than I did when I was having the
me.
Listen,
and I will do that, and it's paying off, because at the end of the day, nobody else is telling me what to do until I ask them to tell me what to do. Till I pay. Now somebody's not paying me to tell me what to do. I'm paying somebody else to tell me what to do. Does that make sense? That I pay somebody. What's your expertise? What can you do? I don't want to do everything.
Exactly. But like that person, I gotta laugh about this. I'm paying somebody to tell me what to do. That's something else.
Okay. How do you all process? Because in order for me to have the self-work every day, because it's an everyday thing, it's healing, it's constant. So I wake up. Sometimes I woke up today. I had interviews lined up, and I woke up today doubting myself. So I had to talk to myself. I had to tell myself, listen, you got this. Remember your strength. And I had to process through that. I had to do all the things that I do to process. How do you process? Because I feel like, especially in American culture, we're just taught to go. We're not taught to process.
Well, it makes me think about. I was raised by my grandmother, right? It's important that you have some people who you can find if they weren't there, who have wisdom, who are wiser than you. And so I played my grandmother's wisdom in my mind. So she said, baby, don't worry about nothing, because worrying is from the pits of hell. And so I equate doubt and worry with that, which is the opposite of divine. You know what I mean? I see that from a state that I don't benefit from. So when certain ideas knock on your door, you got to know not to answer them joints. Like jealousy. Like if I see bro getting money, I don't have the capacity to be jealous. Why? Because I identified a long time ago that only bad energy. Right. Yeah. And so I'll be like, yo, that's dope. And maybe he could, he might be able to shed some light on me. But jealousy, it don't fit. Like envy, it don't fit. Greed, it don't fit.
Because like I said earlier, I hate when people say I don't have a gift. I'm like, you're not looking hard enough. Have you broke your neck until you found it? Have you tapped it? Have you asked anybody else what you're good at? Again,
don't break your neck. Don't break your neck now. We don't encourage violence. I'm messing with him.
No, you good. And just to finish up, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as process, the journey starts with self, right? So before you focus on what it is that you need to be doing, you need to focus on what you need to be being, like who you be, and once you have that reference point, then it takes a lot out of the struggle. You know what I'm saying? So this is why it's important to figure out whatever divine means to you. Because when I look in the mirror, I see God. Come on, you know what I'm saying? And so knowing that right there, that reference point, anytime something comes, it don't really have that much effect on me because I know it ain't of what's righteous. You know what I'm saying? And it's a strive. It's a strive. You know what I'm saying? Perfection is to constantly grow. So as long as I'm moving towards constant growth and development, I know that I'm working towards my strive. And it does take discipline. And the discipline makes things easier. Nobody's gonna whoop me. Like my parents don't whoop. I used to get whoopings. No one's gonna do that. So I gotta learn how to do it for myself. It's self-governance.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to govern yourself. That means you gotta have self-control.
Same.
You don't have that, then like you gotta know how to start right there first. Otherwise, everything else around you gonna fly off the handle. You never have a handle on it if you don't have a handle on your own self, which means you gotta have a handle on your thoughts, because thoughts affect the circumstances. Remember? So there's actually in the Bible they say, as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. So to answer your question earlier, Quis, I went through the theology school, but after that, I went to the study the metaphysics. I studied the science. I got my degree in electrical engineering. Like, I know that I'm living in that dash. So before I transition and no longer have a physical body, I'm striving to do what I see helps me live out my journey. And my journey that I determine for myself is to live such that I may learn, such that I may grow. And so now I understand the effect of thought on circumstances. So again, it goes back to me focus on the being and not the doing, who I be as a foundation before I do.
Yep, just like Myron Golden said, you got to be, do, have. Those are the three pillars right there. You have to, because you can never do until you understand that you are. And once you understand that you are, then you activate. Like I even had imposter syndrome going down to the morning meetup conference. I'm like, what am I going to do there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I told you, I don't want to go anywhere if it's not going to be beneficial to me. I'm like, it's already benefited me. What am I doubting? Yeah. Then if I'm doubting that which I put into the world, then I'm doubting, in turn, I'm doubting myself. So again, to answer your question, Tori, it starts with the morning routine, like that Savers routine. I love that. That it starts with that acknowledging yourself. And the first thing he said is silence, because you got to clear out the room. Anytime you're cleansing something, cleaning, you have to clear out the room first in order to allow things to come in. In Christianity, they talk about submitting to God and not being yourself so that God can enter you and do what he has to do. Same thing with your work, same thing with your goals, same thing with your you have to allow those things to leave and dissipate. You can't be the same person. You have to be a different person in order to get to a different place. That same it's called progress, like he was saying. It's called evolution, elevation. It's growth. We're not listening to the same Jay-Z that we listened to when he was 17. We're not
listen.
Same. It's the same eyes, but the eyes had to grow with us with the understanding. This is just a pathway to get it into here. Then once it's in here, then it's us to see how we see things after that. So like he said, he looks in the mirror and he sees God. I remember at a time I couldn't look in the mirror at all. I didn't like what I saw. I wasn't into my. I remember so the daily reminder how I process things is, again, I look at that clone and I look at the past clone. I look at the past version of myself where I came from. My why is the end all be all. Nobody can tell me differently. It's all on my back. Nobody can tell me I can't. I instill this into myself, and by building myself up, because I'm pretty sure y'all can attest to this. Sometimes you give the best advice that you should be taking. So I have no problem talking to myself. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I should have.
Are you drinking your own Kool-Aid? Isn't that what we say? Drinking your own Kool-Aid.
You be on the phone with somebody telling them like, hold on, I need to be telling myself this, because again, like I don't have no problem repeating stuff, because how many times we don't learn the same thing throughout school until I had to stick sometimes. I learned how to grow a plant like from first grade to like sixth grade. I'm like, we did the germination process, did the sowing of the seed. Cool, practical things. So you can fill up your own time with the things that you're going to do. And like you were talking about the self-discipline, you have to actually have a consequence tied to these things, because then you're just going to sit there and BS. There's no consequence.
What's your consequence?
My consequence is money. Oh, I don't play about my money. My consequence is money. My money. My consequence is money. If I don't make it, I have an accountability partner, whether it's usually my mom. Mom, call me by this day. If I don't send it to you by then I got to send you this, or I got to do that. If I don't get up and work out, then I can't party on a Friday. Like I have to have a certain amount of days consistency in order for me to benefit from it. I don't buy myself anything until I reach a certain monetary goal, not because I can't afford it, not because I don't deserve it, but because I really push myself. Okay, I can get it right now. Let me do something that is going to be a return on investment for me doing that, in addition to me feeling like, I deserve nice things because I put in the work. Nobody can tell me I don't put in the work. Once you're putting in the work, show up. Show up, because now I'm doing more work. After the morning of this week, I'm like, damn, I got to catch up with you. Now I got to do more. And again, like he said, it's not a jealousy thing. It's acknowledging that we're all mirrors. So if my man could do it, I could do it. She could do it, I could do it. do it, I could do it. It's a mirror thing. I cannot define me seeing God in myself if I don't see it in my brother. Because if I do, then I'm lying to myself. I'm saying that there is no God, and I cannot exist in a world where there is no universal higher power that's orchestrating things. Because everything, like we said, happens for a reason. There's a causation, there's effect. We have to be put in the cause in order to get the effect. What is your cause? And then you will get your effect. So how much longer are we gonna be here? I'm so sorry. I got another thing to be in. I love you. Yo, I didn't realize we was on for an hour and a half, yo. Did anybody else see that time fly?
Yo, it flew
That's
by
funny.
so quick. Yes.
Yeah, it did
All
fly
right,
by.
so I have a little speed round question. Okay. Healing. What does healing mean to you all?
Process. Healing is a process. Healing is again, like most things, most things that we title with which is usually seen as a destination or a permanency, like a result of, is never a result of. It's a progress. It's a journey. It's a journey. You have to. It's continuous work. It's evaluation, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, cutting out what didn't work, what you can improve on, what you can improvise, and then moving forward from then. You have to make daily improvements. Daily improvements is a daily try, and only in a real effort and a real try is when you've exasperated all resources. Don't tell me you looked for something if you just picked up the book and then moved it to the left side. Oh, I looked for it. I didn't see the paper I was looking for. Nah, you didn't break down that room. You ain't moved things. You ain't put stuff away in order to find it. So don't tell me to try to exasperate all. So don't tell me that you didn't get the result unless you tried everything. I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears, because you done been to work and you ain't want to be there and you did it anyway. So you might as well do it anyway.
I think healing, and we use the word process, but I want to define what process is, right? It's like a series of actions or a step taken in order to achieve a particular something. So to address even healing, it is a process, but it's something that you have to do constantly, consistently, right? I listened to one of your live, Tori, where you were talking about the onion being peeled. Healing is forgiveness. Healing is being able to do a prakte lefte, which for those who doesn't know, it means genuine love. Healing is part of growth. Healing is part of who you are. And I know I said that entrepreneurship is a journey, but I know for a fact that healing has a destination and it's attainable if we work for it. So it's not all, you can't all, it's like, no, you can't skip through some parts. It has to be progressive. It has to be, and sometimes you need help. You just need somebody, you can have an accountability partner, but you have to have professional help. And that is okay. Because in our community, in the Black community, I'm from West Africa, in the African Black community, Jesus is our therapist, and that's okay too. Don't get me wrong. That's okay too. But ultimately you need the people that Jesus gave their purpose to help us really heal. And so part of that process, and I have that all the time, Tori, like sometimes I'll be like, what, how they did that to me? They're asking me, but like, yeah, they're asking me. I'm God's daughter. I'm like, I'm worth it. I am the ish. I am who I am. Like, I am here. He put me in this place for a reason. Somebody's going to hear my voice and get inspired and reach out to me, and they're going to inspire me, So healing is definitely, like, I encourage healing, but it has to start with you. And if you don't really understand what it is, like, you might need a greater help. And that is also okay to get. Like, you got to get this help. And, Quis, you're talking about we drink our own Kool-Aid. I just told my husband, like, I think I need a therapist, individual therapist, because we've always done couple therapy, which I always recommend, whether you're married or not. We did it when we started dating. I was like, this man's not going to, no. So we started couple or marriage counseling, whatever it's called nowadays, before we even got married. And we still are in there, give or take. So now I'm like, now that I heard you, I thank you. I'm going to thank you, Tori, for allowing us to have this platform, because I don't think we hear people that look like us enough on this type of platform. It is out there now. I'm saying it's out there. You got to look for it, but it's out there. So thank you for being you. I don't know if anybody told you, but thank you for being you today. You're amazing for putting us into a room like this. This video is going to live on forever, and somebody's going to hear it 3 months from now and be like, yo, that's it. They're going to be like, I need to reach out to Quis because I don't like eating meat. or they're gonna reach out to me because we eat pork. But Quis, don't put me in that vegan bucket. Put me in all your other buckets, please, because I really, really, really dig you. I put you in a lot of my buckets already. It's just I don't know how Thanksgiving will be with you, but you still be here. You know, you still.
Don't worry, I have to. I don't
got
celebrate
you, but
Thanksgiving because of the native blood, but I celebrate. Okay, you got to something
oh,
else.
actually, I don't even think you're right. I don't even celebrate Thanksgiving. I just show up.
I celebrate Thanksgiving, but I won't put you in the vegan bucket. But I'm only listen. Only if don't talk to me about food and don't ask me for advice unless you want it though.
Exactly.
I think we disagree too, because you're saying that you don't think that healing is a journey, but then you also said that you continuously to do it. You keep going to counseling.
Because I'm still healing. You know what? That makes sense.
Exactly. So I think you might. I don't know if you're gonna revisit it later, but I feel and I still strongly feel that healed, in order to be fully healed, that never happens. Because it's like I lost my dad last year, right? And every time that it hits me, it slaps me in the face in a wave. I'm like, damn, what happened? It'd be something weird I'm thinking about,
that onion.
And it hits again. And it's not every day, it's not all day like it was immediately when he first passed. It wasn't just like that where it was like, oh damn, 3 hours of this, I can't do this. I gotta get back to myself. Now it's in a way, it's still the same pain, but it's less intensified time. It takes less time. It's not like a whole hour of that pain, but the pain is still there. So I still feel
different.
It's a different. Like you got counseling, you got couples counseling.
You're right.
Counseling. Because you're on your way.
I just said it to him. Literally last night, I was like, you know what? I just randomly just Google how much is Talkspace, right? Because it's like counselors or BetterHelp or whatever. He was like, yeah, do it, babe. Like whatever. You already tell all your
dynamic. Sometimes you're upset with what your partner has done. You're upset with what they said. You're upset with something surrounding them. So like we all know, you can't heal where you hurt. You like you say you're going to get counseling elsewhere. Like sometimes it's a blow. Like, damn, man, like I don't want to talk to you. Like I do want to talk to you, but now you talking to me crazy, so I don't want to talk to you right now. So I'm gonna come back and revisit it, but I'm still going to work on it because now I'm suffering equally because I want to talk to my babe. I want to talk to you, babe, but you're talking to me crazy, so I can't talk to you right now. So now we both got to go through that consequence together, and that you know what I'm saying. That's a big thing, but that's a healing thing because then you got to. I remember at a point in time like I don't want to talk to you ever again. Goodbye. Like, but now we work towards something because I want to get better. Listen, I'm not perfect. I mean,
no, that's how it was with me and my husband too. We were like, no, we'd be mad at each other for days. Now I'm like 5 minutes later, I'm like, you good? Are we still beefing? Or because
I'm trying
to eat this?
Stupid ass over here.
Okay,
Jay,
you want me to make you drink?
What does healing mean to you?
What's the question?
What does healing mean to you?
Wow. Yo, this every day is healing, right? Because healing, again, that's that mirror. We're going back to that mirror. If you're recognizing that healing needs to take place, then you're realizing that some trauma or something ill has happened to you, and so that means you have to like really understand cause and effect. I'm here because I went through certain things. So a lot of us experience childhood trauma until we face that younger version of ourselves. And have that conversation. I don't care if you write a letter to that younger version of yourself. You have to confront when that happened to you and give that little young version of you some encouraging words. Tell that person what it needs to hear so it can overcome that. Until then, you're going to hold that same childhood trauma. You're going to still engage in the same guarded actions that keep you away from your own growth and development. You understand? So in my school of thought, we don't say that heaven and hell are two places. We say that heaven and hell are conditions, neither of which would exist unless we bring them about. So you have to face certain demons, and until you confront these demons, they can continue to sit in your closet. And when you're in the room, like the boogeyman come out and get you, that's these traumas that we have yet to face. So healing is recognizing that healing needs to take place, right? Healing, recognizing that you deserve. That you're deserving, that you are enough, and so then you have to get to the space.
I am enough.
Yeah, that's a mantra. I put it up on the wall. You know what I'm saying? I am enough. And so until you see that you're worthy of certain fruit, certain positive outcomes, you keep the same BS up. So healing for me It's first recognizing that it's a journey. Physically, check this out. How old do I look? How old do I look?
Okay, this is a trick question because
I was blown away. Go ahead.
Yeah, me too.
How old do I look? How old do I look?
Okay, let me see. You look all right. I feel like you're probably not in your 20s, but you look like you're in your 20s.
I'm in my 40s.
Man, that's it. I'm going to bed. These people out here.
And so when we talk about healing, remember I told you that when I was younger, I hated myself. That means I had to heal from a place, right? So this whole journey is a journey of healing. Because I was taught that I was not deserving. I was a nigger, right? You know, so a nigger can be owned. You know, that's property. That's not even. You're not even black. Like the part of this pen is black. Black is a color, right? No one's white. No one's black. So when you say I am, and then again black, like that's really nothing. I am white. I am like you're not even. I'm not even American. Like I live in America, right? But to say that I am, knowing good and well, like I said earlier, I've been around the world and I was always at home. I always saw me everywhere I went. You know, I realized I learned that and that had a lot to do with my healing. Understanding that I'm not a minority. We're the world majority. You know what I'm saying? And so healing means to stop choosing from this menu that has us thinking that we're other than our own self, which is righteous. So healing takes place in really looking in the mirror and knowing that you are divine by nature. That's the point that you heal from. Like if you think that you're anything other than divine, you got it twisted, yo. And so you can easily take suggestions and be less than and be normal. But then that made me think, what does it mean to be normal? And I wanted to get back to this point. Let's say that normal, so because we're talking about a normal condition, right? A normal condition. So let's say that the normal condition for this room that I'm in is 70 degrees. It's normal. That's normal, right? So let's say you got the you look at the gauge on the thermostat, or if you take your temperature, right? And your mouth should be about 98.6 degrees, right? If you get a fever, it'll go up. Normal is 98.6, right? In the room is 70 degrees approximately. I'm saying we set it at 70. But guess what? Who said it? Who said it at 70? Who set normal? How is normal normal? Who said it? What does it mean to be normal? That means some healing needs to take place, because I'm sure if you want to be normal, then you want to be set at a condition or at a degree that someone else put in motion. That means you haven't activated yourself yet.
That's somebody else's normal.
That's a fact.
Right.
But I'm embracing my weird.
Yo, I just want to
I'm
say
not trying to be normal.
Tori,
oh, you gotta go. You're right.
Yeah, I gotta go. I was supposed to go a while ago. Tay, yo. Ellen, next time, grab me. Keys, grab me, because you think I was zipping back and forth. Right. I don't mind at all. I love it. I embrace it actually. Like I'm probably the most approachable person that people tell me I didn't know how to say it. You didn't yell it, curse it, write it down, text it, DM me. I'm right next to you. I don't care. Get all types of creepy and weird. Listen,
I might
be all platforms. Tori, thank you for having me once again. Yo, I had a great time with y'all. Great conversation. Conversations that need to be had. The conversations that we need to input into our communities, and those buckets. I like that. I'm using that. I'm out of here. I love y'all.
Tell people where they can find you.
Keep open doors on every platform. Keys open doors on every platform. If y'all want to cop one of my vegan shirts, I'm the ambassador for Black Vegans Unite. You can go to theblackvegansunite.com and get your shirt. You're trying to cop some crazy gear, some dope vintage stuff, some dope exclusive stuff.
Oh wow,
go to Uptown Vintage NY on Instagram. I'm there. Go to YouTube. If you just Google Keys Open Doors, you'll find me. I'm popping up somewhere. And don't be surprised when you see a lot more popping up. Tay, you had a question before I rolled out of here, bro?
Just get at me, son. Get at me.
You already know I got you. I'm gonna tap into you.
Yes.
If not tomorrow, I will tap in with you tomorrow. I promise that. I'll put it on my.
Thank you, Keys, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, because you thought it not robbery to have Keys Open Doors. Yeah. I'm out of here. Peace. I love you. Bye.
Yo, this was amazing. I'm so glad you guys joined me.
Yes, it was.
Yes, we are creating the Disney of healing. So we have to tell our stories and get our stories out and show people how we're thinking to get to just our next level, not even way up here. Just how are we thinking to get to our next step? So
Yo, I'm a part of a group on Facebook called the Jegna Nation Builders. Knowledge, healing, and consciousness. So we have these discussions all the time. And it's so necessary. We can't get to where we are without that healing being a part of the ingredient. You know what I mean? It's just necessary.
invite me.
Yeah, go ahead. Just
Here.
go. Jegna Nation Builders. Just
Nation Builders,
JEGNA.
I found it.
Yeah.
Yep, I found
But
it.
what I was going to
Okay.
say is check this out. I never been to England, but I speak English. What do I know about me? You know, I'm melanated, as you can see, but yet my government name was Brown. That's not an African or an indigenous word. So what do I know about me? What I'm getting at is that who you think you are, you're not. Due to knowledge to how things came to be. There's a term called Sankofa. Some people say Sankofa. But the idea is that you go back and fetch it. You get the history. It helps you guide you to where you need to be. And until you get that piece, you're not really understanding what must be done. So that's healing.
That's dope.
Yes, we
That's
can't
dope.
end it no better than that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so tell the collective where they can find more of you guys, tap in with you.
For me, go ahead, sis. Go first.
I was just gonna say you can reach out to me on my website at heleneparker.com, and that's my name on every social media except on Instagram, Programmatic Digest Podcast. But if you go to my website, you'll be able to get all my information. I'm very active on Instagram and LinkedIn. So, but again, Tori, shout out to you for doing this. You're amazing. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you are. So it's crazy because when we met, we had to not be introverts to meet, right?
Right.
And so just know you put yourself in this space, like it's a beautiful space because the outcome of what you're doing beautiful work. So thank you for having me first and
Yes.
foremost. You see my Instagram handle right there at Taynov, right?
Yeah.
No, I told you I do hip hop, so I got a website. I got a lot of songs on there. I'm talking about bars on top of bars on top of bars. And I'm objectively saying that because I'm the worst critic. But so my website for the music is Number One Music, all spelled out. Number1music.com /Tay-Novel.
Okay. We'll make sure we put that in the description box, y'all. Don't even worry about it. If you listen to this on the audio, we got you.
Yeah, so as you could tell, I learned a long time ago through hip. See, I had a major record deal a long time ago, and I'm the only one from the group that's still doing music. So I feel like I gotta represent for them. But I realized that when you have the platform of hip hop, it's so influential. You have to be very mindful of the food that you're giving to people. A lot of times they're giving us ear chitlins, or you know what I'm saying, they're not really mindful of how powerful they are. And one song is worth 1,000 sermons, so we gotta be real careful. You know what I'm saying, even on platforms like this, because this can outlive us. You understand what I'm saying? This digital media, these presentations on these platforms, they could be here longer than us. So we gotta be real careful with the ideas and the expressions that we, you know what I mean, we partake in, because we affect person, place, and thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Healing is in the words of Nipsey, it's a marathon. Healing is an internal marathon. So make sure you guys join us. Follow our guest. Quis left early, but make sure you follow him. Thank you again for joining me tonight. Make sure you do some healing. Peace and healing, y'all. We are out.
Peace.
Bye.